Hey guys, what's up? I got this email from Kit, formerly Convertkit, telling me that my subscription was going to go from $7.90 to $8.90 a year for 5,000 subscribers. I'm not using most of the advanced features, so instead of spending $890 a year, I'm going to spend $50 for lifetime by switching over to SendFox. It does take a little while. It took me about 2 hours to do the migration. Probably could have done it faster if I'd had the guide that I'm going to provide to you. I think you could probably get it done in like an hour, depending on how many different email sequences you have. But just going to go through all of the steps that I took to go from $900 a year to $50 for life with SendFox. Hey guys, what's up? I got this email from Kit, formerly Convertkit, telling me that my subscription was going to go from $7.90 to $8.90 a year for 5,000 subscribers. I'm not using most of the advanced features, so instead of spending $890 a year, I'm going to spend $50 for lifetime by switching over to SendFox. It does take a little while. It took me about 2 hours to do the migration. Probably could have done it faster if I'd had the guide that I'm going to provide to you. I think you could probably get it done in like an hour, depending on how many different email sequences you have. But just going to go through all of the steps that I took to go from $900 a year to $50 for life with SendFox. Yep, so over here, the first thing I would look at in SendFox is the audience, because this is how you get your contacts in there, right? So if you go over to audience, you can go from list to contacts, and you do import contacts, and then upload a file. And so we want to get our data out of Convertkit, so we go over to Convertkit, grow subscribers, and then we select all of my confirmed subscribers, and you have to click this to actually get them all, and then that you do an export. You'll get an email, and then you go back over here and you say upload a file, and that will bring in all of your contacts, and then you can put them on whichever list you like. Do import contacts. Right now you have your users. So that's the first thing. The second thing is emails. Emails here are the equivalent of broadcast in Kit. So if you go over to send broadcast, right? This is just saying, hey, it's not part of a sequence. I just want to blast out this email to some group of people, right? So the equivalent here is email. So you do, we do create email, right? And then we can compose the email. We I think can choose which subscribers it's going to go to, right? We can select our list and choose who it's going to, and then we can send it out. So yesterday, actually earlier today, I just sent an email to everybody saying, hey, I'm migrating because, wow, SendFox is way cheaper, right? So that's the emails feature, which is the same as the broadcast feature. Then next we have the automations feature in SendFox, which is the same as the sequence feature in Convertkit, right? So sequences in Convertkit are automations in SendFox. And so we've got this set of emails here that I created today, right, which I just copy them over from the same sequence in Convertkit, right? And so the trick is, of course, that people who are in the middle of this sequence, right, don't want to have to start at the beginning again. So since my subscription goes for another, like, let's see, it's September, so it's like 3 months almost that I have until the end of my subscription. So I'm just going to let this play out here in Convertkit, and then I'm not going to put people into the sequence unless they ask to be put in, right? So I've got it put in here. I'm going to send them other emails, but I'm not going to add them since I don't want them basically getting the same emails twice. And so I've got these 3 different sequences, and then the last step is to how to actually collect new subscribers, right? And so there I go over to grow, and I create either a smart page or a form. Smart page is meant to be like a landing page that's separate. So I can show this, I can just click a view. This is what it looks like, right? So it's a place where you send them to a standalone page that collects emails, right? That's one option. And then the second option is a form, which is meant to be like embedded, right? So you get this embeddable code and you can put it in your website, right? So collecting emails through these 2 things, I set this up. I take links that used to point over to Convertkit and I point them over to this new file. So this is pretty similar really to what you have in Convertkit. It's maybe actually a little simpler, but you put in the redirect URL. There's no download option. You had an option to download a file as your sort of reward for subscribing. They don't have that. They just have a redirect URL. And then when you sign up for this particular landing page, you get added to the specialist list, right? And so then if I go over to my automation, you see on the specialist automation, the first step is that you join the specialist list. So when someone goes over to here, to this page, right, view, and signs up, they will get added to the specialist list, which then triggers the specialist automation, right? So I've got this audience, the specialist list here, which I've associated with this specialist automation. And so that's kind of it, right? There are a few other steps. One other step to mention is that you need to validate your domain, right? That's kind of the same as with Kit. I think you have a domain here, and so I validated that. I had to go over to my DNS and change some settings. That was not a big deal. And then my very favorite step is to no longer pay for Convertkit, right? So I go over to settings, go over to accounts and billing, and I cancel my subscription so I don't get charged $900, right? And so those were pretty much the steps. It took me about 2 hours, and I will put a description of the steps under this to hopefully make it go a little more smoothly for you.